In 1926, a chorus girl in New York ate the same meal every night after the last curtain call. It cost her 7 cents. Today, that exact dish is on the menu 3 blocks away for $18. Nobody in that restaurant knows where it came from. Number 9 was made by boarding house women who fed 12 performers with less than $1. Number 4 was once cheaper than a newspaper. Number 1 might be the most honest meal ever made in America. These 25 meals kept the lights on behind the velvet curtain. Hit subscribe. Number 25, coffee and donut. Street carts outside every theater in America ran the same hours the shows did. The coffee was 2 cents. The donut was 1 cent. The dough was fried in lard, dusted in sugar, and handed through a small window to someone who had 3 more hours of work ahead of them. The cart had no name, no sign, just a flame, a pot, and a line of stagehands who needed to stay awake. A version of this now costs $7 at a chain counter. The original cart never had a name. Number 24, scrambled eggs on toast. Backstage, between the second and third act, there were 12 minutes. 2 eggs cracked into a pan, stirred slow over a hot plate, laid across a slice of bread toasted on the same surface. Salt if it was available. Nothing else was required. A dozen eggs cost 35 cents in the 1920s. That dozen stretched across an entire week of 12-minute meals. Brunch menus now list this for $14. It takes the same 12 minutes. Number 23. Hot dog, Coney style. The vendors worked the same hours the performers did. They set up before the doors opened and packed up after midnight. Beef and pork sausage steamed in water, dropped into a soft bun, topped with mustard and onion. No plate, no fork, eaten standing outside the stage door in the cold because there was nowhere to sit and no time to find a seat. It fed the stagehand and the comedian the same way. The door between them was the only difference. Number 22. Pickle plate. No cooking, no fire, no cost beyond the jar. Cucumbers, cabbage, carrots brined in salt and vinegar packed weeks earlier. Eaten standing in a hallway that smelled like grease paint and old wood. Immigrant families brought this practice from Eastern Europe and never abandoned it. The preservation was the point. Nothing spoiled. Nothing was lost. Today it appears on menus as a charcuterie board, starting at $22. Number 21. Sardines on toast. The can cost less than a nickel and required nothing but a surface to open it on. The tin lid pulled back. The fish laid across bread. A drop of vinegar added if the bottle was nearby. Eaten cold. It was always cold. No one heated it because no one had time, and the tin held its own. Cafes now serve this with lemon zest and price it as an appetizer. Number 20. Macaroni with tomato sauce. Italian immigrant families brought this into the theater districts of New York and Chicago and never left. The pasta boiled until soft, crushed tomatoes cooked in oil with garlic, combined in the same pot. 6 people fed for 30 cents. The garlic came from a braid hung by the door. The tomatoes came from a can that cost less than a streetcar token. The same bowl is $19 in Little Italy today. The recipe has not changed. Number 19. Ham and beans. It started before the matinee and was ready by midnight. Dried navy beans soaked overnight, slow cooked for hours with a ham hock, salt, and water. The bone rendered fat into the broth. The beans thickened around it without assistance. The pot did all the work across a full day of heat. High protein. Almost no cost. It no longer appears on restaurant menus because no establishment can price it high enough to be worth the space. Number 18. Cabbage soup. Eastern European women cooked this in the boarding houses where performers rented rooms by the week. Half a head of cabbage, 1 onion, whatever broth remained in the pot, simmered for 40 minutes. Sometimes a potato was added, sometimes nothing else at all. The cabbage softened and the broth turned faintly sweet. It cost almost nothing and restored the body after a long night on stage in a way heavier food could not. Today it is sold in juice bars for $11 a cup under the name Detox Soup. Number 17. Americanized goulash. Hungarian immigrants brought the base. American poverty reduced it to what was affordable. Beef scraps browned in a pan, cooked down with paprika and onion, stretched with elbow pasta to feed twice as many people as the meat alone could reach. The paprika came from home. The pasta came from the Italian family down the hall. The dish belonged to neither country and to both of them equally. It became a school cafeteria staple for 50 years. The children who ate it were never told where it came from. Number 16. Rice and beans. Every immigrant group that passed through the theater districts knew this dish by a different name. 1 cup of rice, 1 can of beans, cooked separately, seasoned with salt and fat, combined in a bowl. Together, they form a complete protein. The people who ate it did not use that term. They understood only that it kept them standing through the second show and the walk home that followed. The United States Department of Agriculture documented this combination in 1917 as the most nutritionally reliable low-cost meal in immigrant America. Food scientists confirmed the assessment 60 years later. Number 15. Chowder. In the port cities New York, Boston, Baltimore, chowder was not expensive. The sea was close, and overfishing had not yet occurred. Clams or fish, diced potato, onion, milk, and butter. Cooked low and slow until the potato broke down and thickened the broth from within. Served with crackers from the sleeve. Not from a ceramic bowl. Not with a garnish from the sleeve. Standing at a counter, between one show and the next. The same preparation costs $20 in a tourist restaurant today. The fishing supply that made it cheap is mostly gone. Number 14. Chicken fricassee. The cheaper cuts backs, necks, wings were what performers could afford. The breast went to a different table entirely. The pieces browned in butter, removed from the pan, a roux built, and the remaining fat with flour, broth, and cream added. The chicken returned and simmered until the meat moved toward the bone without pressure. Served over bread or rice, one bird fed 4 people through a full evening. The Settlement Cookbook published this method in 1901. It was written specifically for women managing households with almost nothing. Comfort food menus in current restaurants charge $26 for the same preparation. Number 13. Potato pancakes. Jewish vendors sold these outside the theater doors on the Lower East Side. They retained heat longer than almost any other portable food and fit in one hand. Grated raw potato, squeezed dry, mixed with egg and a small amount of flour, fried flat in oil until the edges crisped and the center held firm. Eaten with sour cream, or applesauce, or nothing, depending on what the vendor carried and what the buyer could spend. On Delancey Street in 1922, they cost 3 cents each. They now appear on holiday brunch menus with garnish, and a price that would have fed an entire backstage cast in that same year. Number 12. Corned beef hash. Nothing from Monday's dinner was discarded. By Wednesday, it had become a separate meal. Leftover corned beef diced and pressed into a hot pan with potato and onion, flattened and left undisturbed until the underside crusted. Then flipped in sections, topped with a fried egg when one was available. The crust was not incidental, it was the objective. That crust confirmed the pan had done its work. Today it appears on brunch menus at $16 to $22. The restaurants that serve it do not note that the dish was designed to consume what remained from a previous meal. Number 11. Knish. Eastern European Jewish immigrants carried this preparation from another continent. It arrived in New York and remained. Mashed potato, sometimes with onion, sometimes with meat scraps incorporated, wrapped in a plain flour dough, and baked or fried until the exterior held. Portable, dense. One niche sustained a stagehand through a full double shift on the Lower East Side. Every person working backstage in that district recognized it by name. A single gourmet knish now sells for $8. The dough formula has not changed. Number 10. Oyster stew. Before industrial-scale overfishing reduced the supply, oysters were abundant enough in New York Harbor to serve as the primary protein source for low-income residents. Street vendors sold them raw off the docks for almost nothing. The preparation was simple. Fresh oysters dropped into whole milk with a pat of butter, salt, and pepper, heated slowly, never brought to a boil. The oysters went in last, cooked in under 2 minutes, and were served immediately. Any additional time in the heat rendered them inedible. Oyster stew now costs $20 to $40 in formal dining establishments. In 1920, it was the meal eaten when nothing more substantial was available. Number 9. Bread pudding. This was the meal constructed from the last usable materials in a kitchen with almost nothing left. Stale bread, torn into rough pieces, soaked in milk, egg, and sugar until the bread absorbed the liquid completely and held together as a single mass, poured into a pan and baked until set. The bread that would have been discarded became the entire dessert. The milk was the one ingredient that required spending. The bread was already there. 5 cents in a boarding house, kitchen. $10 on an artisan dessert menu. The dish is identical. The century is different. Number 8. Fried bologna sandwich. Bologna was the protein purchased when actual meat was not within budget. One slice scored around the perimeter so it would not curl, fried in a dry pan until the center raised and the edge browned and crisped. Placed on white bread with yellow mustard. No additions. No second slice, unless the week had been financially sound. Anyone who grew up in a working-class household in the Midwest or Appalachia knows the precise sound of that contact with the pan. Diners now list this for $12 and classify it as a nostalgia item. It was not nostalgia. It was a Tuesday in 1931. Number 7. Pickled herring. Immigrant communities consumed this because it did not require refrigeration and did not spoil. Salt-cured herring rinsed and sliced. layered with raw onion and vinegar and a measured amount of sugar, left overnight in a jar on a shelf. Eaten cold on bread or without bread, standing at a shared kitchen sink before the first show. The protein density was high. The cost per serving was minimal. A single jar sustained a person across multiple days. It now appears as an upscale appetizer priced at $12 to $20. The performers who ate it backstage did not call it an appetizer. It was their dinner. Number 6. Liverwurst sandwich. Organ meats were standard at working class tables across America, more common than steak by a significant margin. The liver, the heart, the butcher's trim, none of it was left behind. Liverwurst spread thick across rye bread, raw onion laid on top, mustard applied, wrapped in paper, and carried into a dressing room with no window and no clock. Eaten cold between the matinee and the evening show. The contents were not analyzed. The result was that a person remained functional through a second performance. Today, liverwurst is a specialty item found in select delicatessens, unfamiliar to most Americans under 40. In 1925, it was present in every lunch carried into every floor of every theater in the country. Number 5. Egg cream. There are no eggs in an egg cream. The name derived from the foam. Jewish soda fountain owners on the Lower East Side developed the preparation and did not record it in writing. Cold whole milk poured into a glass, approximately 1 inch deep, chocolate syrup added, pressurized seltzer introduced while stirring upward from the base. The foam formed in under 10 seconds. The drink was consumed before the ice could develop. Performers used this between acts when caloric intake was necessary and sitting down was not an option. The current retail price is $6 to $10 at establishments that classify it as a retro item. At the time, it was the entirety of a break. Number 4. Early Sloppy Joe. The name was assigned later. The preparation emerged from a specific constraint: ground meat scraps that could not feed enough people on their own. Browned in a pan, extended with tomato sauce, vinegar, brown sugar, and Worcestershire, reduced until the mixture was thick enough to remain on a bun. The early versions carried no brand association, no printed recipe, no commercial identity, only a pot, a group of people requiring food, and whatever the icebox contained at the end of the week. It became a fixture in American school cafeterias for decades. The cafeteria system never referenced the boarding house kitchens where the preparation originated. Number 3. Hand pie. Performers who traveled required food that could survive a packed trunk, a train journey of indeterminate length, and a cold dressing room in an unfamiliar city. A lard-based dough rolled flat, filled with seasoned ground meat or potato, folded over, the edges pressed shut, baked until the crust was firm enough to carry without breaking. It traveled without special handling. It reheated on any available surface. It required no equipment at the destination beyond a source of heat. Specialty food operations now produce hand pies at $8 to $12, using premium ingredients and printed menus. The crust construction is the same. The circumstances that produced it are not. Number 2. Beef stew. After the final show, when the costumes were returned and the makeup removed, and there was no remaining performance to give, one pot sat on the stove. Inexpensive cuts chuck, shank browned, first in the available fat, then simmered for 2 hours alongside potato, onion, and whatever broth the house held. The fat released from the meat and thickened the liquid without the addition of flour. The longer the pot remained over heat, the more the flavor concentrated. There was no reason to rush it and nothing to move toward. Chorus girls ate from that pot communally. No individual bowls were assigned. They remained in costume because relocating the pot was not worth the effort, and the wait had already been long enough. Theater district lunch counters near Broadway served a bowl for 10 to 15 cents. The same preparation now costs $18 to $28 and is listed as artisan beef stew on a handwritten menu board. The pot is unchanged. The people who stood around it are gone. Number 1. Onion sandwich. This is the preparation that has no restaurant version. No food writer has applied a descriptor to it. No chef has placed it on a tasting menu. No one has introduced a garnish and adjusted the price accordingly. Raw onion sliced thin, laid on bread, spread with lard or whatever fat was on hand. No heat required. No technical skill involved. No equipment needed beyond a knife and a flat surface. Made in a dressing room or a corridor or a boarding house kitchen at 2 a.m. when the stores were closed, the week had been difficult, and nothing else remained. The Smithsonian Food History Program stated the matter directly. What is now called comfort food was once survival food. This was not comfort food. It was what was eaten when comfort carried no practical meaning. The performers who ate this were not eating poorly. They were eating with precision, using what was present in the time available, in the space they occupied. That is not something any menu has found a method of pricing.